Amen. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Good morning. Merry, happy new year. How good is to be together in this morning in the same feeling, worshiping God. What a good way of finishing the year. And how good is to be able to sing God has been good in this year. God has been faithful. God is good. God is faithful. And today, as the last day of the year, also the last message of this year, tomorrow, the first day of the new time, this new year, moreover than being celebration days, reflection days, family days, are also times of thinking, reflection of what we've done, what we should have done, and we have been not able to do, of what we will do in this new year, the goals, the aims we would like to achieve. But I think that there is one goal, one aim that should be priority, and we all should have as a main objective, as a main goal, and is to grow in our interpersonal relationships, strengthen our relationships, and if they are broken relationship, restore them. How important is this aim in any person life, in our lives? Being able to live in peace in the family, living in peace in the church, and we know to be aware of the importance for our spiritual health and emotional health, valuing our relationships. How much harm causes when a relationship breaks and there is distance in family. These days are table times, meeting times, but there are families that the only days that can sit in a table, share, these are the only times. And in other times of the year, there is more distance than approachments. And as children of God, it's important to take care of this aim in our lives. We live in a world where each time there is the individualism is very important, and the common topics are not important for families. My proposal today is to end a series of messages I've been sharing with you about living a consistent gospel, being consistent of what we are, of being consistent with what we preach, and being consistent of what we represent. Be consistent of our principles and beliefs. That's why I want to share the second card of Timothy. We have been having two messages before, and I've been repeating that this second Timothy letter were the last writings of Paul. And before developing this message, I'd like to do a review on all the chapter. It's only 22 verses. It's not a lot. It's not a good idea to read more than 8-10 verses, but I want to read these 22 verses this morning because I want to summarize what we've been sharing the last days. So we are going to read 2 Timothy chapter 4, last chapter in 2 Timothy, and we are going to read it now. And it says, chapter 4, in the presence of God and of a Christ Jesus, who will judge the living and the dead, and in view of this his appearing and his kingdom, I give you this charge. Preach the word, be prepared in season and out of season, correct, rebuke, and encourage with great patience and careful instruction. For the time will come when people will not put up with some doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. They will turn their ears away from the truth and turn aside to myths. To this was the first message I shared, and there were 4 points. The importance of sharing the legacy. The world has the best legacy we have received, and the responsibility to pass it on the others. We also spoke about identity, to live identified with a Christ-centered gospel, which is sustained by the Word of God, His Word, the Church. Three main aspects: the body of God, the cross of God, and the table of God. Difficult times will come, says Timothy. They will look for teachers. They will gather around them a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. And lastly, we talked about the calling, belonging to Christ, and participating in His redemptive work. We have the calling of share this message to other. Verse 6 it says, for I am ready being poured out like a drink offering, and the time for my departure is near. I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on the day. It spoke about I have fought a good fight, not just any battles that focus you on the transcendence. We don't fight by pushing the air, so it's a good time to think if you have been fighting any battle that is not worthy. If you have been battling, if you have been fighting in battles that have not given you anything. Paul said, I don't fight the battle by pushing the air. Finish the race has to be with perseverance. Define the goal correctly. Run it with perspective. Where I want to put my energy into. And finally, faith is the only solid and sure thing we have. I have kept the faith. The only solid have I said in seconds ago. Let us run the race and of faith with our eyes on Jesus, the author and consumer of faith. And today I want to think of the last verses. Verse 9. Do your best, try to come to me quickly. For Demas, because he loved this world, has deserted me and has gone to Thessalonica. Crescens has gone to Galatia, and Titus to Dalmatia. Only Luke is with me. Get Mark and bring him with me, because he is helpful to me in the ministry. I sent Tychicus to Ephesus. When you come, bring me the cloth that I left with Carpus at Troas. and my scrolls, especially the parchments. Alexander, the metal worker, did me a great deal of harm. The Lord will repay him for what he has done. You too should be on your guard against him because he strongly opposite our message. At my first offense, no one came to my support, but everyone deserted me. May it not be held against them. But the Lord stood at my side and gave me strength, so that through me the message might be fully proclaimed, and all the Gentiles might hear it. And I was delivered from the lion's mouth. Verse 18. The Lord has rescued me from every evil attack and will bring me safely to his heavenly kingdom. To him be the glory forever and ever. Amen. And then the final greetings from 18 to 20. That's the way it finishes. The scriptures of Paul, the letters of Paul. And in this morning, I want to reflect in three aspects. I think they are important, and in these last verses are reflected. The first one, a consistent gospel recognizes its own needs and the needs of others. We all know that we all have needs, don't we? In second term, we don't only have needs, we also have limitations. And we have limitation, and people around us have limitation. And in third term, recognize the importance all these people around us. If we think of Paul, we think the great apostle Paul, a faith man. The 80-90% of the New Testament is written by Paul, a man that lifted up many churches, that raised many pastors, many disciples, a spiritual man. And when you think of Paul, this man, what can say this man for the last words? We may imagine it could be a great preaching, a great sermon, because you keep the best for the end. And Paul, that taught so many things, had the opportunity now to put the final dot, to say the last words. And you may think, you may think a different message for this moment, but Paul decides to say in the last times, Timothy, try to do your best to come to me. How easy, how simple the gospel is. Do your best, try. Do your best has to do with effort, with our will. It has to do with movement. It has to do with being intentional. And we need to be intentional to do our best in doing something. It has to do with knowing how to prioritize, to procure, to take the initiative, to procure the needs of other people and superimpose it to our own needs. Paul says, Timothy, do your best. Among all your activities, Timothy was a pastor in the church. Among all your priorities, try to do your best to take a time and come to see me. How important is to have as a goal to do our best, to give a step ahead. Not wait for others to do it, but to do it in first. To take the initiative to give this step. What is the opposite to to do the best. The opposite is laziness, indifference. I don't care. Or I'm going to do my best to my own needs. You and me in this year that is starting, we can do our best to do many things, and we are free to do to many different things. But this is a calling to think of other people in the church atmosphere, in the family atmosphere, the nearest husband, wife, children. Do our best and not wait for the other people to do to give the first step. Laziness and indifference does not make life in a family or a community any easier, but the opposite. Proverbs 24:30-31, it says, I went past the field of a sluggard, past the vineyard of someone who had no sense. Thorns had come up everywhere. The ground was covered with weeds, and the stone wall was in ruins. The word makes a picture of the sluggard. The lazy man, to the lazy man, thorns grow. The walls are in ruins. There's no life. The lazy man has a way of thinking that only points to oneself. And the word is inviting us to have a side to others. Try to do your best. What are you going to try this year, this new year? Do your best to come. Come. Try to come. It has to do with approachment. I'm not focused on my own need. I'm reaching out the need of another. I'm not waiting for the others to give the step. I give the step. Relating to church, to the faith community, we need to foster relationships that do not rest only in our ministry responsibilities, but transcend those links. Coming is a reciprocal gesture. And what do I say that? What do I say that we need to foster relationships that not only rest in our ministry responsibilities? Because I do believe there is a point in which we need to work and we need to foster and have it as a goal. The home groups, the little groups, are a blessing, are a present from God, is a way to live the church, to share. But when I refer to a reciprocal gesture, I'm speaking about taking care one of the other, and sometimes we fall in the temptation of thinking that the ones that have to come are my responsibles, my pastors, the ones who have a responsibility, a spiritual responsibility upon me, and I sit down and wait, and I hope that this person have me in mind. This person calls me, this person takes care. And the only thing that this does to us is not letting us grow. We need to grow reciprocally. I know because I share with people, responsibles in church. I know that many responsibles and many times are in different little groups, home groups, and they've lived critical moments, tough moments, sad moments, and they have to encourage other, and not only once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, many times. And we need as church, as a mature church, to see that in other people there are also needs. It's not only us that have needs. There are other people that need us to embrace, to give us a hug. How long? What was the last time you tell your responsible in the small group? When was the last time you tell him or her, you are a present from God to me? So our responsibles, the leaders of the church, can feel loved and can feel the church hugs him. We are not machines, we are people. We are people with problems, with difficulties, with sadness, and it is important to take care. To take care one from each other. And then it says, do your best to come quickly. In other passion, shortly, soon. Don't be caught unawares. Do what you feel like doing soon. Maybe leaving it for later is too late. Something happened to me that I wanted to do is I felt like doing something, but I reached late. That's why Paul says, do it quickly. Do it soon, shortly. Come shortly. Come quickly. How many days, how long had Paul? We don't know it, but he knew he had the need to see Timothy, and that Timothy did his best to do it quickly, shortly, do it shortly. So laziness doesn't come to your life. Do your best and do it quickly are complementary. We can have a good intention to do something for someone else, but procrastinating throws away our good intention. We can be full of good intention, but if we do nothing, it's useless. Do it quickly. Do it soon. And lastly, do your best to come to me. In Spanish it says to see me, only to see me. Paul needed to see Timothy. He needed to have a meeting with him. And we need to value just a simple gesture to have a time together. Value this. Spend time together. The encountering is more important than the place you are taking it. Sometimes to me, it happens to me sometimes. For me, sometimes the place where we have the meeting, we think the place or the things around encountering the meeting is more important than the meeting. But the most important thing is the meeting. The meeting is a simple gesture, a coffee, a glass of water, or nothing. Just a meeting, a hug, being able to listen to someone, being able to walk. And we sometimes have this routine that we need to prepare these meetings. He says, just come to see me. I don't need any more. He didn't need any more. He just needed to see, to have a time with Timothy. In marriage, how important is the marriage time? We don't need to have money to be able to enjoy in your marriage. We live in a beautiful land, a beautiful island, beautiful mountains to have a walk. We have a impressionant bay. We are the envy of everywhere. There are many places to walk, to have a walk. We need to value these encounters, these meetings. And we have a goal in 2024. It should be to make profit of these meetings. A free moment you have, make profit of it. Because life passes away soon. Those who have children, children grows up quickly. They grow up and you lose times if you don't make profit of these stages. They become old and you didn't notice. I'm really enjoying my great child. I've just been great father. I'm really happy. And they are stages, and we don't need great events or preparations. We don't need to prepare great meetings to be together. Just come to see me. In this first point, we can conclude, you and me and all of us, we are needed being. We need each other. We need this simple act to be together. Do our best to be with someone. Do our best to hug, to embrace someone. Do our best to listen to someone. Do our best for your house to be a meeting house. So all the family members want to get to the house to have a significant meeting. So the children want to come back to the house to enjoy these significant meetings. This is what we need to ask for the 24th. In second term, we not only need to recognize we are needed people, but we are limited people. We and the people around us, we have limitation, and others people have also limitation, and our limitations and the ones around our limitation generate disappointment in others and in us. One of the most frequent reasons for turning away from the gospel or living the faith is not knowing how to manage the disappointment or frustrations we experience. The disappointment of the faith community on our own lives. We need to live with disappointment, with desolation all our lives. It's something with us all, that is with us all times. We are limited beings. Disappointing is the pain caused by a desolation, a feeling of dissatisfaction that arises when expectation about an event or a person are not met. And I ask myself, what did the Apostle Paul give detail of disappointment in the last letter, in the last words he was writing? Did he needed to express Demas had deserted him, that Alexander did a great deal of harm? Couldn't he have saved these words? But if these words are written in this last letter, it's because they were important. Because we cannot omit that deception, disappointment is in our lives, takes part in our lives. And this year is going to start. We are going to be disappointed, and we are going to disappoint someone. You are going to feel abandoned, and someone is going to feel abandoned by you. We cannot hide from this reality, because the consistent gospel is conscious of this reality. And we cannot spiritualize everything and say everything is perfect. No, church is imperfect. We are very imperfect. This is the reality. And we need to live with this reality in mind and pass over all the obstacles that may come from this reality. The gospel lives with the disappointment. No one can fight a good fight, finish the race, and keep the faith if he or she does not manage disappointment correctly. Disappointment generates frustration. Maybe this thought, I was hoping something from this person. I make a great effort. I did many things. I don't deserve this treatment. I don't understand this attitude. Is it worthy to make an effort? Why do I make an effort? If they are not going to recognize it. Brother, sister, take care that disappointment don't grow pain in your heart. Paul managed it correctly. He said, do not take this into account. Take care that disappointment does not breed bitterness in your heart. And it's important, he said, do not take this into account. It is important we ask the Lord to face disappointment and frustration. Or don't children of God make mistakes, or don't disappoint? If you think like that, you don't live in truth. Your child can disappoint it. What are you going to do with him? Imagine. Are you going to close him or her your house door? What do? You love him, you love her, and you go on loving him, loving her, and you will be loving him all life, loving her all life. We need to recognize and ask God to be aware to manage correctly disappointment, to work on it. Marriages. Why the divorce index is higher time to time? Because people don't want to make an effort. If this is not useful for me, I leave you. I'm not to make a problem on this. Why? This is what people think nowadays. That's why there are so many divorces, because people don't want to make an effort, to make a sacrifice. They don't want to do their best. They do their best to themselves. And we need to manage correctly frustration. And in second term, our limitations can lead us to pride and not to be able to rectify, to change our mind, or to trust again in someone. Paul speaks about Demas and Alexander that abounded him in the last times. And the last, in my first defense, no one helped me. Not only Demas, not only Alexander. At my first defense, no one, many people. At my first defense, no one came to my support. But there's something that Paul rectifies and says to Timothy, bring Mark, because he's useful for the ministry. And this Mark was known by Paul. Acts 15:36, at the beginning of Paul's ministry. Sometime later, Paul said to Barnabas, let us go back and visit the believers in all the towns where we preach the word of the Lord, and so we know how they are doing. As you know, Paul went with Barnabas through all the churches. Barnabas wanted to take John, also called Mark, with them, but Paul did not think it wise to take him because he had deserted them in Pamphylia and had not continued with them in the work. They had such a sharp disagreement that they parted company. Acts is the beginning of Paul's ministry, and Paul has a problem with Barnabas because he didn't agree Mark to come with them, and Barnabas did. So the disagreement was so big. Barnabas told, yes, we're going to give him another opportunity, and Paul said no, and they parted company. I think that Paul was wrong in this decision. I think Barnabas, and it's my opinion, I think Barnabas was right. It's true, Mark abandoned. He may have problems, discouraged problems, 1,000 problems to abandon the mission. But Paul considered that despite of this, he was not valid. He could not have a second opportunity. But now, at the end of his ministry, in the last letter, he said to Timothy, get Mark and bring him with you because he's helpful to me in my ministry. And to this, I call this to know how to rectify. To rectify is to be conscious with our principles. Pride is the worst enemy when it comes to rectifying, correcting, accepting, or recognizing a mistake. Rectify is not a gesture of weakness. It is a gesture that honors the person who does it. People make mistakes. Did you know that? I'm not saying anything new thing. We make mistakes. But people change. Did you know people change? They change. We also change. And we all deserve a new opportunity. Think of the Lord and of us. He forgave us, He received us, and gave a new opportunity. We sometimes don't give this new opportunity. People change. They make mistakes, they rectify and change. And this is very important. We cannot label someone. We must be people that believe in second opportunities, because other people believe in second opportunities. Other people believed in us in a second opportunity. And we need to make this analysis and how good is to rectify. Guilty is not decided by no one. No one wants the guilty. It's not a good companion, the guiltiness. But to accept is not wrong. To accept you've been wrong, it's okay. Guilty doesn't harm. Pride is bad. Where there is blame can be restored. The guilt can be restored. Pride cannot. So think of this, of your family. Think of another opportunity to someone. He may be wrong. There are many reasons, but give another opportunity because you receive it. And lastly, in the last term, a consistent gospel recognizes the importance of the people around him. And this is very important. This is very important. Greet Priscilla and Aquila. In the last greetings, you may read these final greetings and you say, this is not important. He's finishing the word. But there is teaching in these final greetings. These final greetings are very interesting because it's speaking about closeness of knowledge. Greet Priscilla and Aquila. Greet Jordi, Benusa, Chema. Greet Jazmín, Brian. Why? Because I know them. I know their names. And it speaks us about closeness, knowledge. The household of Onesiphorus, it speaks us about trust, family, marriage. The house speaks about family. It speaks me that Paul has been in this house and speaks about unity. Erastus stayed in Corinth. It speaks us about complicity, ministry, purpose. It's a break. I'm speaking now. When we multiply a small group, a little group, we are sad. We are sad. Oh, we are going to separate so long together. But it's not a sad time. It's the work of the Lord, and you have to be happy that you multiply and some people leave and make the word in another way. This is what Paul is talking about. Trophimus, I left him sick in Miletus. Trophimus, I left sick. I left. It speaks about compassion, effort. Paul did something for Trophimus, and I'm finishing. And it's ready. The group of ministry group is ready. It speaks me about compassion. And it reminds me to the Samaritan. I left him sick. Look at the coincidence with the Samaritan. The Samaritan was, there was a man, wounded man. A religious man came. He thought he had many work. He may have to give a preach, to give a sermon. He passed by him and went and left. Another one passed, and he was also very worried and passed. The third one came, saw him. He stopped. He wounded man and felt great compassion for him. He came near, dressed his wounds, put oil and wine in them. He put him on his horse and brought him to the inn and took care of him. I think of this scene and I think I love to go this place where the religious went. They may have gone to give a great message. I'd love to, at the same time where the religious men came, to have a screen and see the way to this place. So the message would be very an opposite message. Speaking about the love of Jesus and pass away and not taking in account of this man on the way. This was the opposite message. Brother, sister, what is my desire for 2024? What do I hope? Happy New Year 2024. Happy to all of you. Who is happy? Happy are those who always try to do something for others, who are close to the needs of others, who value being together. Someone who value being together, cry, laugh together, hug, embrace, listen. Happy are those who value a simple gesture. Happy are those who look away from mistakes and disappointments and towards them to restoration, forgiveness, and new opportunities. Brother, sister, happy are those who can forgive. Happy are those who believe in people, those who believe in family, those who believe in the church. Happy are those who is consistent with his principles, with her principles, his values, her values, and his faith, her faith. Happy New Year 2024. Get up there where you are. I'm going to ask you for a simple gesture. Even we make a little disorder, a little mess. Be near someone, hug someone and say, Happy New Year, Happy 2024. May the Lord bless you. What a wonderful family.